My leadership development plan. So, I am currently a mathematics teacher at a small boarding school in Vermont. I lead in the classroom on a daily basis for my students. Education is something that I've always valued throughout my life. My grandmother had always told me that education is the one thing that no one can ever take away from you. With that always being in the back of my mind, I have continuously been driven to be a lifelong learner. I attribute this as to why I find teaching to be so empowering. I strive to create an environment in which each student feels confident and excited about their own growth in the classroom, on the field, and in their personal lives. It is my professional hope that in 10 years from now, I am in a higher leadership position within boarding school. I want to continue to be a head coach for soccer so that I can share my passion with high schoolers and create powerful relationships. I see myself aspiring to be a dean and then moving into an administrative role in boarding school. Ideally, if I could have my idealistic society, I would love the opportunity to combine the roles of teaching, coaching, and administration. I think that it's really important to have administrators in the classroom so that they can truly grasp what goes on a daily basis. I want to have a work environment in which the people around me understand the importance of building strong relationships. I've always lived by the motto that one should do what they like and like what they do. Those who work in the same organization as me need to be passionate about the work that we are doing. Luckily, in my line of work in boarding school, a lot of the faculty members that I do work with, fortunately, are passionate about what we are doing. So after our self-assessment on leadership competencies, I noticed that my key strengths fell under the competency of character and interpersonal skills. These competencies can be equated to an authentic and servant leadership style. Both are fundamental in education systems. It is important now more than ever that teachers and administrators of school systems understand these leadership styles. Exemplifying high integrity and honesty has always been something that I place significant emphasis on. If I cannot be true to who I am as a leader, then I am not allowing myself to effectively lead my followers. In my first journal entry, I discussed how Bill George described this as knowing your true north and stated authentic leaders understand their own values and behave towards those based on these values. This aligns directly within our textbook's chapter of the Competency Quest, in which I identify with having a high level of self-understanding and a strong set of personal values. I have strong core values that I use when I lead. An example of this was when I was in college on my soccer team. One of our strongest players decided to break our training rules and consume alcohol the night before a big game. As a captain, I had to make a tough decision to make our coach aware of the situation. We decided collectively that this player will not play in our game and that she will be disciplined within the team's cultural norms. I knew that morally it wasn't right to not tell our coach in an attempt to just get a win. That would put the culture of our organization in jeopardy. It was here where I learned leadership is not easy. I have been an authentic leader throughout my life, and it is evident within my professional life as a teacher. Throughout this developing organizational leadership course, I have realized that I am in fact a servant leader. Nordhaus describes a servant leader as someone that makes sure that other people's highest priority needs are being served. In each relationship that I build with my students, I always make sure that they are getting the support they need, whether it be related to academics, athletics, or their personal life. I make it a priority to check in with each individual student and make sure they are doing well. One of the 10 characteristics of servant leadership is commitment to the growth of people. Within this characteristic, it states, servant leaders place a premium on treating each follower as a unique person with intrinsic value that goes beyond his or her tangible contributions to the organization. My academic institution prides itself on being a student-centered school, and I believe that I hold true to that. When we look at areas of improvement, as a leader, I believe that there is always room for growth. Leaders create change within organizations to be successful. In order to maximize success, leaders themselves need to always be improving. By exposing my weaknesses throughout this class, which is something that I personally don't like to admit to my weaknesses, I have been able to see what specifically I need to work on. Under my leadership style, I need to be more receptive to the way others learn, lead, and the rate at which they understand content. My patience can definitely be short at times and is something that I am aware of. After reviewing the results of the feedback on leadership competencies that 2 of my colleagues filled out, I noticed that they both marked a low number under innovation for encourages alternative approaches and new ideas. In the beginning of this class, I identified as an action leader and listed that as a limitation to this approach is that I can become impatient with others' learning styles. A place where I see my leadership weakness exposed the most is in my classroom. When I teach a mathematical concept to a classroom of students, I know that I need to do a better job of understanding that not all the students learn the same way and at the same rate. While I know that this concept is true, it's really hard to meet all students' needs when teaching a new concept. I always say one of the hardest things for me when it comes to teaching is differentiation. I find it difficult when leading a lesson to teach a classroom of students that all have various learning styles. I like this idea of using all the learning styles when teaching a concept. It definitely would take a lot more preparation and time on my end, but would be worth it for my students. To bring it full circle, my students do come first within servant leadership, and I prioritize them over my own needs. Now, speaking to my areas of improvement, I definitely need to seek out help in order to accomplish being a better leader. So I think that it's important to reach out to more experienced teachers within my school and talk with them about how they differentiate within their classroom. If I could learn strategies that they use to help apply the material to every student's learning style, then that would be extremely helpful. As for a timeline for my professional career, it's my hope to graduate this leadership program from Northeastern in the spring of 2021. This is only my second class so far, and I've really enjoyed what I've learned and applied what I've learned. So I'm hoping to graduate and finish my 3rd year of teaching all in the same year. After that, I would like to move into a dean role at the same school, hopefully, and then depending on if leadership opportunities open up at my school, I would start looking for administrative opportunities elsewhere if they didn't open up at my school. As I said above, I want to combine my passion for teaching, coaching, and administrative work. I place high value on being a head soccer coach and developing young athletes. My 10-year plan is to stay in boarding school world and keep progressing as a leader. So as I reflect upon this whole entire leadership development plan, I keep coming back to our leadership tent example because I believe that I have a strong character and interpersonal skills that I alluded to before. A specific attribute to character is defined as practicing self-development and constantly learning by Zenger and Fulcum. The development opportunities in my organization have allowed me to take part in this graduate program and continue my education. Another way in which my school has allowed me to grow is by promoting me to be the head girls varsity soccer coach. It is evident to me that they see potential in my leadership skills and is giving me more opportunities to prove it. To be successful in my role, I need to stay true to who I am as a leader. That is going back to Bill George, knowing my true north. My character and interpersonal skills will propel me moving forward. My leadership plan is to always be improving. I never want to plateau in my professional career. I want to work on having more patience and using all my different learning styles in order to optimize success. I plan on continuing to develop being an authentic and servant leader for my students. The leadership competency that I'll continue to improve on is flexibility and agility in finding new ways to accomplish tasks. I will utilize my strong set of personal skills and continue to serve my students. As I hope to progress into a dean or administrative role, I plan to use these same leadership skills and styles. In conclusion, I would like to end by a quote by Parker J. Palmer, who said, "The power for authentic leadership is found not in external arrangements, but in the human heart. We all must lead from within and stay true to our own values."